Good morning. Good morning, everyone. And I especially want to thank Cara for inviting me to do this. And my friend Georgina, I guess, who started it, and Bonnie, Petty. And so I want to, and many of you, I can't see all of you right now, but I really want to thank you very much for inviting me today. And it is an honor. I mean, the organizations and the individuals that belong to CARA are just incredible. And I keep thinking, well, I mean, oh my gosh, why am I being asked to speak when there's this incredible, wonderful, powerful people already part of this organization? What can I say that you already don't know? You know, it's I feel like I am preaching to the choir, but even then, all of us need that kind of connection with each other. We have to be reminded of what we have been doing in the past, what the struggles that we have already conquered, the gains that we already have had, and yet they're all in jeopardy in this election. I've been involved with many, many elections, and each time I always tell people, this is the most important election. This election is important. We got to vote. We got to go out there and get the vote out and register to vote and all of those. But brothers and sisters, this election is not just important. It is critical. It is exactly what Jody said. It's probably the most important election of our lifetime. And the reason it is so important is because it isn't just about the fact of who we're going to vote for or what ballots are up or anything else. This is about us realizing that we're at a crossroads in our lives right now. This is a time when we have to look and realize that if we don't go a certain way and participate in the system right now, and have a voice as to saying, which direction am I going to go in this way, in this crossroad that we are right now? We're not just going to lose all the gains that we have fought for, you know? And I know all of you, just like me, we've been involved in the social movement for years and years. We're not just gonna lose that. We're not gonna lose Medicare, your Social Security, you know, even the right to vote because of all the incredible voting suppression that's going on, and all the just incredible denial of the climate change, and all just the gains that we've had all these years that we fought, and other people before us have died for us to have the right to unionize, to organize. No, this time, what we're going to lose is our democracy. We're also going to lose, I feel, our soul, our spirit, and even our future. This is such a critical election. But it's just as it was mentioned, all of us in this room, we're the regular voters. We're the ones that go year after year. My mother was born in the United States. She was born in Oakland, California. But during the 1930s, you know, during the Depression in this country, even though my mother and her siblings were U.S. born, they were all deported with their parents, with my grandparents, back to Mexico. My mother was raised in Mexico. But when she married my father, she didn't cross the border, my father did. My father was a U.S., a permanent resident and a farm worker who died very young at the age of 56. But one of the things that was instilled in us was my mother voting. You know, that we had to go and have a voice, that we were blessed to be able to vote. So we went to vote, and my mother, it was so beautiful to see my mother with, now that I think back, with her gray hair like me, now that I have it, and all my brothers, we would go and vote as a block. And the thing is that for us, now that I am a mother and a grandmother, an aunt, a sister, I feel that I have to continue that, I guess, legacy of my mother, since she was the only one that was able to vote here in the United States, and continue that. And that's what we need to do too. Yes, like I said, I'm preaching to the choir right now when I say that I know you're gonna go and vote, and I hope to God that you will vote early, like all, because we need to make sure that that voice is right there already. But I'll tell you one thing that we also have right now. We have a duty and an obligation to encourage others. And I'm talking about even as simple as our family, to make sure that they're going to go and vote. Because so many times they may say they are and something comes up and whatever, but it is upon us to go and encourage. What I made a decision is that I decided that I'm going to make sure to talk to all my nephews and nieces and cousins and just other relatives and tell them and remind them and call them and ask them and tell them to if you have questions about who to vote, how to go and go about registering in case you moved and you don't realize that you should go and re-register. All those things, I made a commitment that I'm going to do, that I'm going to call every single one of them and touch bases with them right now and say, please, and this is what I'm gonna tell them. I have never asked for you to give me a gift, since I don't do that. But the gift that I want you to give to me right now is for you to go and vote in this election. This particular election is so critical. I am terrified. I am terrified of having 4 more years of this kind of not so-called, I don't even want to call it leadership, because it isn't that. Or maybe it's horrible leadership. We cannot afford to lose any more than what we have already lost. For the Latino community, I can just tell you that this has been 4 horrifying years. Years of being told that they're worthless, that they're rapists. They're just horrible. That someone who has lived all their lives here, who, as the dreamers are, that they should be sent back. The farm workers who are suffering so much right now, and they're predominantly immigrants, and they're here. Some of them are here legally, many of them are not. But I cannot just tell you something, that farm workers, when I worked with the United Farm Workers Union, many, and even now still, those farm workers are undocumented. They cannot vote. Yet, you know, one thing Cesar Chavez and Dolores Huerta said, they would say that they vote with their feet. We would go out on campaigns, and those farm workers who could not vote, they went and encouraged other people. They went door to door. We gave out information. We made sure that we gave rights to people to go and to take them to the polls. We would just make sure to give them a call and remind them, hey, did you get your vote by mail? At that time, it used to, well, and so many years ago, absentee ballot. We would check on those people. We would follow up, because following up to that point until you know that that person voted is the only way we're going to do it. Because this time there is no excuse, you know, there is no excuse for us not to vote. At one point in my life, I was working for the California Nurses Association. And during the Obama campaign, I was sent to Ohio and Pennsylvania. And I'll tell you, when I went to those states, what we have here in California, it is incredible. We are so privileged to be able to vote so easily. And we don't have as many obstacles or the voter suppression that other states are having to deal with right now. It is for us then to make sure that we try to do in whatever capacity we can to try to, whether I know friends of mine who are now calling other states to encourage people to touch bases with them. Those are the things that we can do right now. This next few days, I think it's almost 50 days more or whatever, before this critical, historical election. But it's like I said, it's not just an election that it's that is just for today. This is a lifetime change. It is a time when we have to look inside ourselves and say, what's the direction that I want my future, the future of my children, my grandchildren? What direction do I want? And this is our time when we have to look, and because again, this election, it's about our soul, our spirit, our morals, our virtues, our dignity, our respect. This is about our voice, that if we do not say something, we are really, as people say, been saying, our lives depend on it. And yes, they do. I am encouraging all of you to make sure that we don't get depressed, we don't get hopeless, we start making sure we don't feel powerless. I know it's hard during this most difficult times for us to want to give up, but this is not the time. We're in a marathon. We're at the last part of that marathon. And this is time when we ask for help. Give me a drink of water so I can keep going. Help me right now. Encourage me. Tell me it's worth me going and voting. This is a time when we ourselves reach out for help, but we also lend help to others. I know I've been involved in many, like I said, voter registration drives, getting out the vote. And you know, I'm sometimes surprised. I'm surprised when I see that so many people may not even know that they can go and vote with their ballot, their book there. They feel like it's a test. I especially deal with a lot of recent immigrants who this is their first time voting, or even young people who this is their first time voting. When I used to register in Oxnard, I used to live in Oxnard, I was surprised to hear people come and tell me that, well, I have a traffic ticket. I'm afraid to go. I'm afraid to go and vote because they might then ask me they might arrest me, they might take me. I mean, they would come up with all of this. The most incredible one was when I used to I came upon a black man who said that he thought he had to pay a poll tax, which I didn't even understand what that was. That was many years ago. And I realized that, you know, in many ways, it's in other states, those are the things that happen. So we have a lot of education to do also. We have a lot of education. We got to continue, you know, being a union organizer. I always feel like we have to just organize all the time. There is no time for us to sit back and say, it's okay, I'm retired. It hasn't worked for me. I've been trying to retire for so many years and I can't. Every time it keeps getting worse and I keep saying, oh my gosh, I thought I could just go home and retire, but we can't. But you know what? I now don't view it as bad that I have to be out here in the movement. I don't feel bad because, you know, one thing, I view it as a blessing that I'm still able to. That being older, I'm able to guide other people and also be an example to others. And
1 minute,
active.
please.
Thank you. And being active is the most important thing. So, because I always feel, I know so many people who are in their 80s and they're like active. And I mean, you know, I mean, I'm 68 and I feel like, you know, I'm a teenager next to them. They're so incredible. They're just so wonderful. And all I wanted to say to you, brothers and sisters, it's been an honor to talk to all of you. You're incredible, wonderful people. You have had the same struggles as I've gone through, and we have overcome them. We must not give up. We must have faith, because my belief is always, si se puede, si se puede, we can do it, we will do it. And this, of course, is, like I said, a historical election. And I know that we are going to pick the right road and head toward a beautiful future, not only for our children, but for our grandchildren. And I thank you so much again for letting me speak to you today. Thank you.